I actually made a longer film explaining where I was up to with the cars, but I think I'll just do a quick, shorter version because a lot of it I've been through before. I've just had a little bit of a tidy up today just to get a little bit more space around the cars. One thing I'm looking at is this is basically a two and a bit car garage. So it's not huge. It's lucky that I like small cars, and I can actually fit three cars in here. But the Riley, when this is finished, is going to be a little bit longer, and it'll be too long to fit endways in the garage here. So probably what I'll do is the Riley will live where the Austin is now, along there, and for the Austin, it will live in the back of the garage here, crossways. But I'll invest in a couple of the sort of ratcheting wheel dollies that you can get, where you sort of slide them either side of the wheel and jack them up, and then you can swing the front of the car around. So when I want to get the car out, I can just reverse out the EMG and get the Austin out. The other thing that's happened recently is I had good news and bad news about my wheels. So the wheels have all been rebuilt. They were rebuilt with the original hubs, but new rims and new spokes. That's all been done now. Unfortunately, I was hoping that they would be painted silver, but the guy doing them got a little bit confused and ended up painting them black. He sent me some photos of them. They do look really amazing. It's an amazing paint job that's all baked on, so it's very solid. I would have preferred silver. I think originally the wheels would have been body color. Because I haven't built the body yet, I'm not exactly sure what color I'm going to use, so I was going to go for silver as a good sort of neutral color. And also just to make the car a little bit more visible, because it's so low down, I want it to stand out a little bit so people see it. It seems like people in these huge SUVs and big pickup trucks and things, it's almost like they're blind to anything that's smaller than them. So it would have been nice for the wheels to sort of stand out a little bit more. The black ones are rather shiny, so maybe they still will, but we'll have to see. So the wheels should be coming back soon. The springs are hopefully being worked on this week, so when they come back, I should actually be able to get the front end mostly together, at least get the axle on, and start looking at building up the hubs and things for when the wheels come back. And the other really good piece of news is I've paid for my giant order of parts for all sorts of things I need to go on this car, including the new crankshaft and new rods for the engine, rear half shafts for the back of the car, a good second-hand differential, all of the shock absorbers and the shock mounts, all of the brake shoes. I think that was more or less it. It's about 62 kilograms worth of weight of stuff, which is all having to be posted from the UK, so that's not going to be cheap, but there's not much I can do about that. So on the Austin here, what I've been doing is remaking the guard stays, and at the moment both of them are off the car, which is why I have the jack there, because the guard stays bolt onto the other side of these panels, and these panels bolt to the cowl horns, which are these steel brackets inside here. So with both of them off, the front of the car isn't actually bolted on. It's just sort of sitting loose. So you need the jack underneath there to keep it lifted up, just to keep the bolt holes all lined up. One thing I may do is, even though these cowl horns are made from 10mm steel, they actually can vibrate. They can move. So I may weld a sort of gusset piece onto them just to stiffen them up a little bit more. The brackets, the new brackets I've made from 5mm strap, which is bolted together instead of the original ones I made, which were 3mm and needed stiffening supports brazed into them. And I wanted to remake them to make them more Austin pattern, and also so that they're bolted together, because anything welded that vibrates could eventually crack in the welds over time. So that's what I've been doing tonight. I may show a little bit of how I actually went about making the stays. One thing that's turned out to be really, really good is my new vise here. I'm really pleased with this. It was well worth spending the money to upgrade to a slightly bigger one, because now I can do things like fit the steel dollies in there, and because this is bolted down with three big bolts, and the one at the rear is actually passing through a 2x4 that's underneath here vertically. I've got a big long threaded stud to hold that in. This is extremely secure, so it makes it quite easy to put big bits of steel in there and then bash away at them with the hammer. I think that's about where we're up to at the moment. This is what I mean about having a nice big solid vise. It lets me do things like bend this curve in this piece of 5mm strap. This is one side. I need to bend that curve, which follows the curve of the bottom of the body, and that curve is almost the same radius as this steel block. So because this new vise opens up so much wider than my old one, I'm able to just clamp it in there and pull the strap around. You can just pull it around like that, and then I can just tip it up on its end and hammer over it to get the curve absolutely right. These are the new stays now that I've finished them. You can see the original ones I made there, which are far thinner and needed these extra supports in there, and they're also kind of longer. You can see how the new ones, which I've based on an original Austin one, my friend Ian sent me this picture of an original one, and I've basically copied this more or less for mine. And being fatter and also sort of shorter in this triangular bit, these seem to be a lot stiffer. Also, these are all bolted together because I think I've mentioned before, the headlight's going to be mounted on the top of the guards on a steel bracket, which gets bolted through with these bolts as well. So that section of it becomes very solid. If I've made these correctly, they shouldn't be handed. You should be able to put these either side of the car, but I'm not sure my car is actually that accurate. So at the moment, I know that this one goes on the off side and this will be for the near side. I haven't actually fitted this on the car yet because I need to do that so that I can mark the hole to go through into the top of the guard to mount the little side lights. So I think that will be tomorrow's job. I should mention quickly, the other thing I'm trying to do is figure out where I'm going to mount the two tail lights. So these are reproduction ST38s, I think they are, tail lights. And obviously they go at the back somewhere, but I need to decide where to put them. And they probably wouldn't look right on the back of the wings. They could go higher up, they could go in here somewhere. I could make a bracket that attaches to those two bolts and attaches to here. But another thought I had, which may be neater, is mount this on a tube that actually goes into the body. So make a mounting plate here, and there's an arm that comes out, and these actually bolt onto that arm. If I make the tube hollow, I can run the wires inside that tube into the boot. And I think that may be a bit of a neater way to do it, because any sort of bracket I make on here is just going to look kind of strange, I think. It would have to be sort of a shaped bracket that goes down and bolts onto this. So I am wondering if some sort of arm off the back there is going to be cleaner. I'm not sure exactly where these need to go. I need to look at some more pictures of period type cars and see how they did it on those. I probably will mount little reflectors somewhere on the backs of the guards for the corners. And then the other thing I need to do This is, if you fold over the end, this is the size of a standard New Zealand number plate. A little bit on the end there is for mounting a light. So the other thing I need to do is work out where I can actually mount the rear plate. You legally have to have one, and legally it has to be one of these plates. So you're not really supposed to paint the numbers on or make your own plates or anything like that. I know people do it, and they do sometimes get away with it, but I'd rather not risk it. I'd rather have a proper plate. So where I'm going to mount that is also going to be a problem. So because the car's so narrow, there isn't really anywhere good to put it. So I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to mount them vertically, so you can't mount it there. That would look silly anyway. So it's probably going to have to go in here somewhere. I'm really not sure how I'm going to do that one. Of course, the first problem is actually getting it registered and getting plates for it. So I think I'll worry about that, and then I'll figure out where I'm going to mount the things.